and we got more lawyers and we got police, different people who have asked, well, give me these things that we have. People gonna learn sooner or later that you cannot. This is all a criminal activity. But go ahead. I'm sorry.
What I wanted to say is more and more people get involved with rescue and taking this seriously, and that really is what's happening. People aren't going to be able to give false testimony, defamation, because it's getting in the way of saving lives. And so people that are really serious about saving lives, you'll see it on the threads when people start acting up, they say it's about the animals. Keep it about the animals.
And they totally tell you, "Yo, get out of here."
Oh, well, and then a lot of people say, well, it's all about transparency and we have to know everything. And then you say everything and they go and attack the people person, that you're working with.
Which is what happened to me, because like just now, some of these troll type people, these low life people, these criminals, they're attacking me right now because they're watching this because we're talking about this subject, because
I put it right on my Facebook page, and I made sure to contact all the people who have been hit by trolls that I know.
Yes.
Because I know they put it on their Facebook page, so the trolls know that they're being spoken about.
Yes, and it's going to be see, this is the thing. If one person says it, it's one thing. But if 5 people say it, 10 people are saying it, you can't deny that. So what's going to happen is well, I'm not going to tell everybody.
Wait, let me interject with that, because a lot of these people, they know each other. So if one person doesn't like someone, they all get on a PM and they talk about, oh, do you know she did this? And hearsay carries a lot of weight in rescue. If somebody says, oh, this person did this, then to the person they're telling, it's fact. And oftentimes what I have found is that it's not fact, it's someone's feelings. Oftentimes it's not true. I know that I've been attacked, and the things that people have said about me, it's like, what?
Right.
What are you talking about? I never even was there. Or
I know, except for that one where they said about your feet. Big feet. I looked at her feet when she walked in. And I said, yeah. No, wait a minute though. This thing here, this woman, Jill Randall, she says that she thinks that you guys are pulling dogs for dog fighting. So defamation of your business, Jenny, when someone says that, according to the lawyers who've given us information so far, and we're going to ask two other ones, and the research that I've gotten from different police organizations, for her to say that is defaming your business and trying to stop people from giving you business and doing business with you, correct?
Absolutely.
Okay, so that's criminal activity. That can be prosecuted. So let's go back to the beginning for a second, guys. Okay? Monika, how did this start? Because you've been going along, your life was fine. You've been doing business. You've been doing your pulling dogs for Open Arms. You guys have been transporting dogs. When did this hailstorm start?
It started 7/7/15 when I was solicited to pull a 9-year-old senior German Shepherd from Carson Shelter for a couple of individuals that promised rescue backup, promised a sponsor, which was true. I pulled the dog because he had only 3 hours to live. So there wasn't really much time for me to do a whole lot of research. And I made that decision out of compassion. 2 compassionate women pulled that dog, got the dog over to a vet where a sponsor took full responsibility with a credit card and promised rescue backup. He would sponsor this dog until a rescue would come and pick it up. It ended up, the dog cost a lot of money. He had a lot of medical issues. Rescue came to evaluate the animal. Unfortunately, they denied the animal for behavior issues. The dog had attacked other dogs. The dog had turned on the handler and turned out to be vicious.
Now, okay, let me stop you right there for a second. Because, and again, I'm putting the pieces together because I'm like Schultz and Hogan's Heroes, okay? Always think of me like that. I know nothing, okay? But the pieces that I did put together and I heard was that somebody wanted this dog, but you killed the dog. Is this that situation, right?
That's what the trolls say.
Okay, great. So, continue.
What happened was the dog basically got abandoned for behavior, and we did some research. Carson Shelter failed to make the animal rescue only with an indemnity waiver for behavior. It had been documented that the dog had behavior issues and was a biter, and caution was to be used, but it was not disclosed to me.
Yeah.
I probably wouldn't have pulled the dog. Anyhow, I wanted to save it, and my compassionate side came out. Maybe there was the mistake that I should have taken more time to research. So the dog was handed over to those two individuals who it was basically signed over. They took full responsibility. And every time I asked, everything was fine. Rescue was set up. They were supposed to come down, evaluate the animal, pick the animal up. When the animal was finally abandoned for behavior, the dog was euthanized without my consent. And that's where basically all the trolls turned on me and said that I had killed the dog. So I admit that I made a mistake of not having maybe researched enough, and I should have found out the dog had behavior issues, and maybe I shouldn't have pulled it in first place. That I own, 100%.
Yes, but Monika, the dog should have typically been made rescue only then when they have behavioral issues, especially since it was documented by the shelter in the notes, which obviously you didn't see that until they hand you the paperwork and you've signed for the dog. You don't get to view these notes beforehand, like some shelters do disclose to you information beforehand. The shelters that we deal with in LA do not. You get the paperwork handed to you at time of checkout, and it said very clearly on there with exclamation points, use caution, dog lunges, dog bites. But they didn't make it rescue only, where I think if they did, it would have raised a red flag to you.
Correct.
Well, for one thing, it would have raised a red flag to you. Secondly, I would have been alerted to you even pulling this dog, because then they would have contacted me to get a waiver signed, and then I probably would have objected to you pulling it. But obviously that didn't happen, so somebody dropped the ball somewhere, and the dog was released as a normal exit to Monika.
And so, how is this a mistake that happens, or is this like really bizarre?
Typically, the shelters we work with are pretty good about when a dog shows any aggression, they label it rescue only, which means it can't be exited to the public, and then the rescue also has to request and sign an indemnity waiver that goes through animal control and the administration office. This did not happen with that dog. I think it was just probably an error on their end, and human mistakes happen, obviously, but we've never had that happen before. I mean, a lot of dogs even get given to us as rescue only that really don't seem to have behavioral issues when we get them.
Right.
And this one, it was documented.
Are the shelters that you pull from, do they ever reevaluate? Because I'm sure, as you know, when a dog comes into a shelter, it can be petrified.
Absolutely.
And so it can be aggressive, and then 2 days later it's calmed down, and it doesn't have to be rescue only because it's no longer in that hypersensitive mode. Are they reevaluated?
As far as I know, no. Once it's deemed rescue only, that's it. It can only be exited to a rescue through an indemnity waiver, behavioral waiver.
So how did it come about? Who is the person that started the Monika killed the dog? Because when someone says to me, Monika McComb, I get, you gotta understand, my PM box and and page and messages is, when something happens, one person will say they want to be the first person to tell me, but they don't know. I guess got 30 of it, 30 first persons. So who is it that started the Monika killed the dog? Because when I get that message, I'm seeing you in the backyard with a butcher knife, and and a bucket,
Oh yeah.
So how is the Monika killed the dog start?
There are basically some people that are Facebookers and they call themselves networkers. So there were a couple of networkers on that particular dog. It was actually, which I didn't know at the time because I was just focused on saving this animal, it was a high-profile dog. There were so many networkers trying to get this dog safe, even though they may have been out of state, somewhere in the UK, somewhere in Alberta, somewhere in whatever state they were. They seem to have known the animal. Everyone talked about how cute and how sweet the animal was, and it deserved to live, and it deserved every chance, which is correct. It deserved a chance to live, and that's why I pulled it. But all the claims of how sweet the dog was, and it was euthanized because of whatever reason, they're saying because we are dog slingers and we collected the pledges and that was a scam. The sponsor was actually scammed by us. Well, the sponsor paid all the vet bills at the vet. It was a licensed veterinarian that euthanized the animal up on those people that had taken responsibility. They signed the euthanasia, which was performed by a licensed veterinarian. I wasn't asked. It was actually hidden. I was not informed of anything. So I was accused of having lost track of this animal. And, well, maybe I did. Yes, I can say that I did not keep track enough, possibly. So I don't want to say I'm totally innocent in the story.
Right.
Do I deserve to die for this?
Yeah.
Do I deserve to not rescue any animals?
Let's burn
anymore?
the witch.
Yeah. There you go.
No, I would say no. There was a rescue that went bad because we tried too hard to save an animal that was broken.
Right. Now, hold it right there. That is my point. First of all, you see, you said something very interesting, and I don't know if that's a phrase, but there's a rescue that went bad. Now, my point, and again, I know nothing. Okay, I'm just in, I'm trying to work through this like a reasonable person.